Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player.
Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your weekend edition of your metals update, and this is for Friday, the 17th of August, 2018. We're just knocking on the door of 4 o'clock, so by the time I do my next video, it'll be my financial one, you'll see the settlement prices. The gold market, and I've still got the August here, I'm just going to finish up today with it, and for the weekly charts, we'll move to the D spot. Up $5, but that won't be the settlement price. This market rallied late in the day. In fact, all of the metals rallied well and sharply late in the day in a big reversal as the dollar broke and a number of foreign currencies put on rallies. Now, part of this is due to the fact that the U.S. is talking to China, and maybe they'll be able to get a November meeting between President Trump and President Xi, sitting down and having reasonable discussions and getting something done. The meeting in August is a lower level meeting, probably setting a framework and to see if there's going to be any movement on anybody's part, because I think the last thing the two presidents want to do is have a meeting and nothing comes out of it. We don't need to see that again. If you're going to meet, get something done, otherwise hold back on the meeting. As for the Turkish lira, it goes on holiday next week. Yes, the whole week is a financial holiday in Turkey, and anything could happen. Should over the weekend the Trump administration sanction more of the Turkish assets in some manner, you probably see the dollar come up and that go down. I have no idea why it took so long for the rating agencies to lower Turkey's credit rating, but in unison they just came out today doing it. Where were they when this market's been falling 40%? So I don't get that. As we look at a chart, a monthly chart of gold, you have a mini breakout to the downside. You've come out of the sideways Bollinger action in an oversold condition. To correct this, you've got to get this market to pop up immediately. If you get another week down, I think that confirms the breakout, and away we go to the downside, whatever that means, and we'll find out where it goes. One of the things that we use here to see a next phase in the market could be what we call your price counts, and you might want to make sure you're on our price count list by going to our website, signing up for that free offering. I think you'll find those charts to be very helpful. But at this point, I'm going to say the market is broken out to the downside, oversold, biased down, not a trend pattern. You still have a higher high, lower low, but it is a breakout. Whether it's false or real remains to be seen. As you can see here, as I said, this market has been coming down, and you've gone from 1353.20. The last quote is 1181.20. It's probably going to be lower than that on the close. As I said, the market is, these are the last trades of the day, but the settlement price is determined at 12:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, not 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time when the last trades take place. This market was lower than this at that time. If they put it in while I'm talking, I'll catch it for you on the top there. Look at how this market has come down. Is it overdone? Well, probably so. A $200 break is pretty significant for the week. You did get to 1161.40, and while we've come back and you're only, I want to use that facetiously, you're only down $30 for the week. It's a big break. You did get an extension like that, and the question is that low going to be a spike low? In the swing line, it is still very bearish. This market has had a very consistent pattern of lower highs, lower lows. That's what I look for. Until the market takes out 1216.40, the market pattern of lower highs, lower lows stays in place. The market has been trading comfortably under the 200-week moving average of closes for about 5 weeks or so now. That is not just a fluke. This market's bearish. You're possibly going to get where the 18-week average gets underneath the 100. Settlement just came up. Remember I told you they would drop it? And there you are. That will be the settlement price in the August contract, which is the lead contract at $1176.50. So for the week, it's down $34.60. As we take a look at Bollinger Bands, you're under them. But this is called classic running of the lower Bollinger Band with momentum locked in as can be in bearishness. So yes, you can get a bounce at any time, but on this chart and the weekly basis, there's no sign that this is letting up at this time. The gold-silver ratio. I've put the 200-week average because a lot of traders will look at that over time, but the 18-week is where I think the market is more focused on in the short term. And the higher this goes, it means that gold is gaining on silver. Now, when you're looking for a bottom in gold and silver, often it is accompanied by this ratio breaking down, not going higher. Doesn't mean it has to be that way, but it's what often occurs. I'm not seeing any sign of that. And for the silver market, you're down this week. Let me take that back. This is the GLD. I'll get to the silver in a minute. I'm so used to the daily, my brain just goes into it. In GLD, which is the popular ETF for gold, look at how this money keeps coming down. I mean, this is just a bearish market, locked in bearish momentum, bias down. GDX fell apart this week, down $1.85, momentum down. Market under the lower Bollinger Band for quite a while now. It was under here. It was under this week too. This is 3 weeks. That's 4 weeks. And this week we closed at 2178, just over it. So we have 4 weeks in a row of the market being under the lower Bollinger Band. I use a rule of thumb on that. 5% of the time is how the algorithm is designed that the market will trade above or below the upper and lower black bands, which are the upper and lower Bollinger Bands. I use a rule of thumb with it to get myself away from problems, and that is when the market, number one, is under the Bollinger Band, I tell people, nah, it's too dangerous to enter new positions. But that's off the weekly chart. The daily chart wasn't doing this. Number two, I count each successive week under a Bollinger Band as one of those 5 percentage points. So I give the market next week 1% chance of closing under the Bollinger Band. Let's assume that it does. Then the week after, I'd give it no chance, and so on. That doesn't mean anything in the reality. It's a question of, do you want to enter new short positions there, or do you want to take off shorts? It is not a question, would one want to be a buyer? In the silver chart, which is where my brain was going, the market is down 66 cents for the week. You know that's a big move. The momentum is down. The trend is down. You're the first week back under the lower Bollinger Band. I think last week you weren't there. So unlike the gold, not as stretched out at all, I don't know that that bodes well for it. In the copper market, look at how sick this has been. It's just riding that lower Bollinger Band. We call this Dr. Copper. And I see people always, like today I was watching one of the financial TV stations, and a person was asked by it, goes, you know, maybe it doesn't work. I don't agree. Copper tells you how world economies are doing. And when you get an economy like China that consumes roughly 50% of the world copper and prices fell like this, it tells me their economy is slowing down. And guess what? Look at the data. Their economy is slowing down. So you don't go by it on what U.S. does. You go by it as a price for the world because that's how it's looked at. Still in a very bearish chart pattern on the weekly charts. In the platinum market, you have a pattern of a higher high and lower low. I'll call this a washout pattern. In other words, you're taking out all the Johnny-come-lately hold-ons to keep buying and trying to hold on to those lows, and you take them out. Momentum, not doing anything to the upside, not trending, but overdone because you're under the lower Bollinger Band. The platinum market, palladium market rather, has the pattern of lower highs, lower lows, went down to the Bollinger Band today and basically held it. So the market's doing its best to find support at the combination of the green line, which is the 100-week moving average, and the black dashed line, the Bollinger Band, and the market is what? Still got downside momentum, downside bias. In the dollar index, I want you to look at the high here at the Bollinger Band. You got this week up to 96.86.5. The Bollinger Band is 95.98, and you closed 90, well, actually, that's the close today. 96.76 was the Bollinger Band. So you got to the weekly Bollinger Band, and you ran out of momentum right now. Did anything turn on the chart yet? It has not. You still have the pattern of higher lows, higher highs, but the market had a heck of a break today, and people are going to wonder, What does that mean going forward? Was that it in the dollar or not? You know, we've watched interest rates fall back too, so those are the things that you take a look at. Now, as I look over here, I want you to stay with me because this works on your Android and your iOS Apple system, all right? And it's a free download. You get to use this, and I think you will fall in love with this product. You like watching me? My videos are in here. You'll get a buzz on your phone. And we're getting away from text messaging. You'll get a notification, which you can turn on and off, by the way, as to what it does. Voice commands. Yeah, you can say, I want to see the weather. And you can set up your weather map to which one that comes up. But what about quotes?
Current prices. E-mini S&P 500 September is up 2.25 and last traded at 2.
You're in your car. You're listening to the quotes. You're a grain trader. Maybe you want crush spreads. Maybe you want gold-silver ratios. You can put all these things there. And then the news that we post all day, my videos, as you can see, and then other news stories that we have. So besides entering orders, besides working with it in 1,000 different ways, everything, if you're a regular watcher of mine, you should take a look at here. I think you'll find it to work very, very cool. How do you get it? As I said, you're going to need from us a user ID and password. The download is free. You can get it from your Android store or the other. It's real easy. But if you get hold of us, we're going to send you the link to do it for your phone. Work with it, put in your user ID and password, and I think you're going to be surprised. And remember, my videos are done right at your fingertip. Let's assume you're a subscriber to my research. It'll tell you my research is out. You just click OK. You'll read it all right on your phone. You don't have to go to 50 different places. You can also click up here. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'll be able to get you right to the page where you put in your name and everything so that we get these passcodes to you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.